clearly an important step in making a difference in this space is to set targets, it's to set goals in line with your ambition as an organisation. And so deciding to be carbon neutral, carbon zero, net zero, and many other references are essential. So let's first clarify, if we can, the distinction between all those things, and really just start by thinking about where's the best place to start if you're an organisation wanting to address your carbon emissions.
Yeah, so I think we'll probably look at the first two terms that I think are used fairly interchangeably and I think incorrectly. One is net zero and one is carbon neutrality. They're both kind of working towards the same equation. It's on a bit of an equation. If I reference back to like what you're saying about Earth Overshoot Day, that's quite good context, because what you're saying there is that we're taking something from the environment for our own uses, and there's a limit to that resource, and we've extracted that at that point, and we've gone over that limit. All the issue around greenhouse gases and climate change is that we're emitting back something to the environment there. Greenhouse gases, or CO2 is the principal one, but there are about 5 or 6 other key ones. And really, net zero and carbon neutrality are about that balance, really. There are elements that emit CO2 or CO2-based activities or greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and there are aspects of the Earth that withdraw it, the trees, sea, other forms of biomass there. Net zero is where the amount you're emitting is matching against what is being withdrawn from the environment, viewing it as a system perspective. The same is true for carbon neutrality, where you've invested in more of those aspects that are removing CO2 from the environment, but you've not really made any commitment to reduce what you're doing. So they're both about a balance, as in the amount we're emitting is also being removed from the atmosphere so that we don't cause this layer in terms of greenhouse gases up in the atmosphere. But really, net zero as a definition moves towards reducing what you're emitting first and using those forms of sequestration or removal as a last measure when you've done your main efforts. So those are the two principal sort of differences on it.
So that's really clear. So from a practical point of view, what might that look like? Let's say it's an organisation that has committed to be carbon neutral versus carbon net zero. Yeah. Practically, what might that look like?
Let's take a common factory space that maybe uses, let's just stick with scope 1 and 2 for now, that uses gas and normal grid electricity that has a CO2 emitting aspect to using that energy, that fuel. Carbon neutral would be, we're not going to change our operations. We're going to continue operating, perhaps growing as usual. We're going to buy X amount of trees in this area as a carbon sink. Yeah. We are carbon neutral. A lot of the big companies, the big tech ones, talk about being net zero in scope 1 and 2, and we've achieved carbon neutrality in scope 3. They've bought their way around it in many ways. If you wanted to be net zero, you might switch everything to electric, invest in solar, go to a green electricity certificate from the grid, at the same time as trying to reduce your consumption. If you're still then emitting, you would look at the sequestration or the options to remove from there.